Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to JSR. After a dramatic and chaotic race at the British GP in Silverstone, where Kevin Zumberg was completely untouchable from the very first lap, we're switching things up tonight in a big way. This isn't a normal championship round. The points table is on pause. Instead, we're running something special as our very own Giro d'Italia. Tonight it's not all about time, not points. We got 3 stages, two 35% races at Imola and Monza, followed by a 5-lap time trial around Monaco to decide it all. The winner isn't the driver who scores the most points, it's the driver with the lowest good points times across all 3 events. That means every lap matters, every mistake costs seconds, a small error at Imola all the way to Monaco, and there's no safety net, there's no points buffer, just pure cumulative performance. Hello, Kik or Khatet. Stage 1 and Imola starts with a reverse championship grid, so the title contenders, never mind then, the race is about to start very soon here at the Imola Grand Prix. We get racing here in Imola. The lights are out. The drivers pull away as we get racing. P1 Dark and Bassi head to toe, going down in towards the first couple of corners on this racetrack. Then let's see what happens. In towards the chicane we go. Around the outside goes the Aston Martin. What a great move as somebody in the background goes off the track. Bassi now takes the lead of the race with Dark and P2 followed up by the Aston Martin, who got caught out and pitched to the curb. And Bassi was able to go all the way around the outside. There was somebody off the track there, and again in the racing bull of the race. Red Bull and Mels Bacchus is completely stranded in the middle of the track there, and he falls down into 17th place. The Aston Martin in the background got damage indeed. As we head towards the top of Perotella we go, the highest point of the racetrack, as we swoop down the hill to coming towards Acquaminerali. That is Sasha and Milan Langer in battle, or was, but Milan Langer and Sasha have sorted out their drama. As we go side by side again, the chicane we go. That is Mark and Torpe going at it in the Variante Alta, and now we've got Torpe out of shape. As here comes Ralph, he puts himself up into P5. There's a multi-car scrap going on here, all for 6th, 7th place. As we head down in towards Ravazza 1 we go. The Haas just squeezed ahead. Once again, Torpe loses another place there, so Torpe is dropping backwards like a sack of rocks, and unfortunately for him, getting swallowed up in that midfield. Khatikas overtakes the RP driver Dort, the British driver, being demoted down into P3. Khatikas goes up into 2nd place as Jaden gets a 10-second penalty for speed in the pit lane, as Sasha gets ahead of Ralph as well. There's many changes in this field as Sasha just gets ahead of the McLaren driver. This is a fast-forward race indeed. And who's that on the inside? That is Milan. No way. Milan Langer. I think he's defended there as he comes up the inside in towards, we go, the left-hander now. He gives the McLaren driver a bit of a squeeze on the entry. I forgot what his torso, there we go. I forgot what the corner was called, so that's why I said the left-hander. But here comes Aaron Gibbo, who goes up into P8 there ahead of Ralsted. So Ralph and Torpe are dropping backwards as well, losing moments of time as well. As you can see there, the left front wing, unfortunately for him, he has got damage, and that's why he's dropping backwards. So performance has been lost. As here comes the other McLaren, Misha, side by side, but the Aston Martin a bit later on the brakes there too. Khatikas and P2 will be shaping up the Aston Martin now. The gap is about 0.6 of a second. Mark is going wheel to wheel in Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2 we go. Up the inside, that is a great audacious lunge to go up the inside there and take away the final spot on the podium. Lap 3 out of 22, DRS enabled on the straight as Khatikas gets closer and closer towards the leader as we head down into towards turn 2. No way! He's thinking about a move there. It's so tight between the two. Barely any margins as now the Aston Martin defending for his life there. Gets out of shape, gets a twitch on, and Khatikas is not able to take advantage there, putting the Aston Martin under all sorts of immediate pressure. And Gibbo going side by side as Darkness squeezes him, pitches him on the inside curve. And Milan Langer has dropped behind his teammate. Now he goes down the inside, and Milan Langer is going to come through too of the inside of the Alpine there. So many battles on this racetrack as you expected here in JSR. Every single driver wanted to get their elbows out at this stage in the race. Mark has caught up to Khatikas as well, so despite being dropped quite a few seconds behind his teammate, he's caught up to the back of him as well. So this race here absolutely alive as we see Ryan getting all that shape there at the exit of Acquaminerali. This track is so difficult, so demanding. We're not even talked about the track features as we see P1 Dark unfortunately get a 3-second time penalty in this race then. So what a shame for him as well, cutting corners around here, which is not an impossibility because it's so easy to do so, cutting corners around here. And we see now Hazagas once again shaping up a move on Bassi. I don't think there's any defence left in Bassi's disposal to try and hold back Hazagas. Here we go then. This could be a simple textbook overtake, hopefully, for Hazagas. No, the Aston Martin sticks his nose on the inside, but the Aston Martin has to yield for the time being. Then he sells for P2. And he's got the other Williams and Mark right behind him now. So Hazagas has pulled clear of the Aston Martin driver. Can he build up a gap over a second there and pull away? As we see now, P1 Dark going side by side with Ralph we go in the chicane. And unfortunately for him, Ralph has been demoted into P9. Still doing good despite the damage. And look at this, we're going up towards the hill. In Pivotello we go. Here comes Sasha the inside there. Almost made contact. I think they did. Banging wheels there, but luckily for those two, they both got out unscathed and pointed in the right direction. Meanwhile, Hazagas is pulling away from the competitors behind as well, so he started to break free and build some distance over the guys behind too, whilst these guys all in one big scrap indeed. That's what happens when you jumble up the championship order. You get drivers caught up in the midfield, get drivers tangled up in a few instances with fast and slow drivers in the mix of each other. And Seiko Sasha up the inside, so not the first time he's made a move in Reversa 1, and for the second successful attempt, he's made another move against the Aston Martin in the first Reversa. But no DRS there for Bassi. He's under massive pressure for Mark. Here he comes, there comes Mark up the inside and towards turn 1. That is turn 1, by the way, that flat out right-hander. This is turn 2 and turn 3, or is it classed as those corners? But Mark now is up into P3 behind Sasha. It was a Williams Mark on the grass there, so don't want to be doing that many times there. Just losing his bearings and reference points. I did race around here last season in Imola, and it didn't quite go well. I think it was raining majority of the race, and unfortunately for me, I think the strategy was completely blown out of proportion and absolutely ruined indeed. So maybe things at this stage of the race, even though it's lap 5, we've still got a long way to go in this race. It's lap 5 out of 22, and there's still a long way to go in this race, but obviously everything's going to happen to kick off at the same time. Miles Marquez, Robert and Eric. So unfortunately for those guys down there in 14th, 15th, 16th place, something dramatic has happened to those guys. As we see now, Bassi go, contact there between those two, as the Aston Martin has to take a evasive action, goes off the track, as the Haas came in sideways and banged wheels with him, and now Bassi's under massive pressure. So the former race leader is under huge pressure. Here comes Here comes the race builder Ryan up the inside, and he takes away 5th place ahead of the Aston Martin driver. Sasha and Mark in that big DRS tray behind Hazagas, and now Milan Langer finds a piece of the action behind the Aston Martin. When he get past him going up towards turn 1, he does, and here comes the racing ball. Headed to return to the Aston Martin there, trying to get his wheels out, but unfortunately for him, he has to take a evasive action, goes off the track as well, tries to hang around the outside, but eventually found himself running out of road, and he had to yield that position, goes down into P7 now behind Milan Langer, and the two has Aaron Gibbo on his debut here as well. Not really seen him before in the past, but he's up into P5 now, doing a solid job in the Haas car. My former teammate of Milan Langer in P6 there, hunted down his teammate, his current teammate of Aaron. And so far, Aaron is doing a credible job there in P5, despite having a 3-second time as he goes off the track in Aquaminarari 2. He can be so precise through there as well. He can be so accurate. Can't afford to make any sort of mistakes. This track is so demanding, so punishing, and any small mistake will have massive consequences in the race too, whether it is track limit violations or spinning out, etc. This track has for these guys here, can't afford to make any mistakes at all. This track is not for the weak, as now we see Sasha as Aaron Gibbo is in the pit lane at the end of that lap. And here comes the racing ball driver. He's about to take a lead of the Grand Prix. He goes up into first place ahead of Hazagas there. So Hazagas, who took the lead of the race a couple of laps ago, has fallen back into P2. But the question is, though, can he stick with the racing ball and follow in his DRS to try and get himself a chance of winning the race once again, or try and get himself back in first place? So Ralph is behind Stevan for P8. P8 is the Ferrari driver who has scored a podium back at the Austrian Grand Prix, but in Silverstone he made contact with Milan Langer, didn't he? And I think he suffered the consequences there. Although their joke wanted to give Milan a penalty for that, although it wasn't Milan's fault, because Stevan did move on the braking as I reviewed it, and in my honest opinion, it was Stevan's fault. But we move on to Imola. That has been left in the past now. So, roller coaster race this is here in the Imola Grand Prix. Things will start to settle down now as every single driver has reached their are in their place right now, let's just say, and sorted themselves out in the early couple of laps in this Grand Prix with aggressive moves and defence as well, as we now head up towards the top of the field then. So Mark is in the pit lane out of the leaders, so is Ryan Milan too, so they're switching over to the hardcore power tyres. Here comes the Williams on the race table again, the two Dutch drivers swapping places. Hattekas goes up into first place. Oh, did he make a mistake? For 1 second, I thought he touched the outside curb on the outside, obviously, and I thought he did a Franco Colapinto and spun out, but luckily for him, he didn't. Meanwhile, Aaron Gibber inherits another 3-second penalty, which is not going to do him any favours whatsoever, and definitely going to disrupt his race, unfortunately for him. So let's see if Mark will get the undercut on Hattekas and Sasha as well for P2. And P1, should he get a jump on those hardcore power tyres. Eric now moves up into P12, of course, on the old hardcore power tyres, but not making Milan's life any difficult. He's making Milan's life difficult now by being ahead of him and losing so much time in these corners we go. The more time he spends behind Eric, the worse it will get for him, so he needs to get past the Mercedes driver as quickly as he can, so he doesn't lose any sort of time. But unfortunately for him, he's losing buckets of time as well, bleeding so much time in this race. The two leaders have pitted at the end of lap 8, and we'll see where they end up. Miles Makis gets another 3-second attempt. The main driver we are focusing on is Mark in P9. He might shuffle up to first place once these guys exit the pit lane. Let's see if the hardcore power tyres, let's see if Putty 1 lap earlier has leapfrogged his rivals and competitors to take the lead of the Grand Prix. We're about to find out now as he makes his way now on the main straight he goes. Let's see if Mark can get ahead of his rivals. The answer is yes, he can. He's up into first place. But what about the Haas in the background there who may intervene in this fight? And he splits one of them. I think he splits Sasha. Roberts were tied in this race. He's out of the Grand Prix. And the Haas goes off the track as well. What's happened to Sasha? Sasha is slowing down for some reason. I wonder if he's got some sort of mistake. And unfortunately for Sasha there, he's just going so slowly. I'm not quite sure why. So he's backing off quite a lot. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the racing bull driver. But what is going on with these guys? Why are they all slowing down for? Is it a lobby restart? I'm not quite sure. They all just... For some reason, they all decided to slow down. So, I'm not quite sure if it's a bug in the game or issue in the game or not, but it's... every single driver here is going so slowly for some reason. Have I lagged out the session? I have no idea. Let's have a look at the leader to see what he's doing. Well, the leader's in the pit lane, which is a bizarre... Why is he pitted that early in this race? It's lap 9, and for some reason he has decided to pit Misha onto a medium compound tyre, which will go to the end, but his tyres will suffer. I thought he'd extend his stint then, as why is every single driver's coming in on this lap as well, which is quite bizarre and strange. Well, Ralph gets his front wheel changed as well for good measure, so that'll help him, but he's going to drop a lot of places in this race then. As we see then, the Williams driver go through. So Mark now takes the lead of this race. He's up into first place. Oh, that's why. A safety car has been deployed. Oh my goodness me, that must be so embarrassing to watch back. I'm so sorry. My map is off. My track map is off. Why is everything disabled for? Even I'm disabled for some... I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with me today. It's just my mind's boggled. Yeah. I usually catch everything in the Grand Prix. But for some reason, I didn't catch this, a safety car coming out, which explains why everybody is slowing down. And it was probably because of Robert was the one that caused safety car. My track map was off. I was blind. So, yeah, I apologize about the one. Aaron Gibber, by the way, is still in P3, despite all of his issues on the track with penalties. And he's been involved in a lot of battles too. So, he's up into P3, whilst his teammate Milan Langer hasn't suffered the same fate or luck in this race. He's in P8. I thought Milan Langer got past him in the early couple of laps of the Grand Prix, but not to be so now, because Aaron Gibbo is way ahead of his teammate with a big advantage. Misha could be the handy driver in P4 on a set of mini-cod powered tyres, but we know those tyres degrade quite rapidly. So watch out for those mini-cod powered tyres potentially fading their way towards the end, giving the upper hand towards the guys behind on the hardcore powered tyres. So race 1 is Imola. Let me just read this then. So this is round 7, 8 and 9. It'll be 3 races hosted at 3 different circuits with adjusted point system now based off total race time rather than position. All the information you need to know is on the graphics. So drivers that are outside the top 10 in the World Championship before the Giro will be also competing in the white car GC for extra points. Lap 5 time trial goes on reversed World Championship. So it's going to be interesting. It's not all about points here tonight. But stage 1 is at the Imola, which is Imola right now, with a reverse championship grid. So the task contenders are going to have to make their way through traffic immediately. The Honda high-speed slipstream strategy, and finally Monaco 5 laps with absolute precision with ghosting on. No contact, no excuses, just you versus the clock. And on top of that, drivers outside the top 10 in the standings before tonight will be also battling for the wide car classification. So there's something on the line for everybody. Every single person in this lobby will have something out of this format. It's something different, something fun, but it still demands serious focus and consistency and IQ as well. 3 tracks, 3 challenges, 1 overall winner, and we'll find out who is the overall winner. I'm not quite sure how you're going to classify this as well. So Imola first. Imola is taken away off the F1 calendar, won by Verstappen in the past couple of races as well, a couple of years I must say. Max Verstappen has had a blast around it, except 2020, because Verstappen, what are these guys doing at the back of the field? Oh my goodness me, sort yourselves out guys. But the last 4 years in a row, 21, 22, 3 and 4, Verstappen went on to win at the Imola Grand Prix. Not 2023, sorry, my apologies, because the 2023 Imola Grand Prix did not get underway due to flooding. So yeah, my apologies about it. About that, I completely forgot about it. So yeah, so the 2023 Imola Grand Prix was cancelled due to intense flooding around this region in Italy, the north of Italy. So yeah, it's a shame we didn't race here, but we're back towards racing now, and these markers punching every single driver up there. And here we go for the safety car restart, and Aaron Gibbo, look at Hattegas caught napping there. He's got 2 cars right behind him, right in the slipstream on his tail as we head down. Oh, almost the abreast of the Haas, getting all feisty as we head down towards turn 2, right on the outside. Goes the McLaren, does it make it stick as we still head wheel to wheel between these two there as Misha goes ahead, and here comes the Haas of Aaron Gibbo. Aaron Gibbo side by side now with Hattegas, who yields and be shuffled down into P4. Hattegas, unfortunately for him, got caught napping as Jaden there has fallen backwards and spun in the chicane we go as Milan Langer gets ahead of Esteban too. They still climb up towards the hill side by side, but Milan Langer gets ahead of the Ferrari driver. Those two made contact last week, so hopefully no contact here at the Imola Grand Prix, which completely read Milan's chances of scoring some big points. I don't think a podium would have been on the cards for him, but some big points indeed on those soft powered tyres that probably would have degraded quite fast later on in this race. As we now head towards the chicane we go. Looks like the Ferrari in the background there just got out of shape. Lap 12 out of 22, so there's 10 laps left to go in this race, and Misha is all over the back of the gearbox of Mark. He'll be wrapping this stage. The pendulum has swung towards his way, but bearing in mind though, those mini-cod powered tyres will have to make the distance which they will do, but unfortunately for him, those mini-cod powered tyres will suffer with the lack of grip towards the end of the race. As we see, Hattegas wanted 3rd place back. He got caught. He got swamped by 2 drivers at the safety car restart. I think he was playing cautiously, but unfortunately for him, being too cautious meant that he dropped a few places too, so he paid the price for that and has fallen down to P4. But I wonder how quickly it'll be for him to get back ahead of Aaron Gibbo. Aaron Gibbo's shown some tremendous pace this morning. Wasn't expecting this type of pace. He started down in P17, last place, and now he's up into P3, so what a great job. If he keeps racing like this, showing some great pace, but also needs to focus on consistency as well, because he has exceeded track limits. I think he's got 2 penalties to his name. Let's have a look right now, shall we? He has got a 6-second penalty in this race, so if he focuses on track limits, he'll be a contender as well, given the pace he's had and the aggressiveness, the robust defences as well. certainly will make a challenger in any sort of race here in JSR. So keep an eye on him. It could be the one for the future as well. The young Scotsman in the Haas in P3, one of the only Brits here as well. I think P1 Dark is British as well, and I think Aaron Gibbo is Scottish, the Scotsman here on his debut. Here comes Misha, the Dutchman, on his fellow Dutchman, or shall I say Italian driver as well, as Misha moves up into first place. Here comes Hatakas. He's about to go, no he's not, he's too far back in towards turn 2 we go, so Aaron Gibbo there just stays ahead, but unfortunately he keeps picking up penalties like it's nothing, and he's got another penalty added to his name. That's a 9-second penalty in this race, which is detrimental for him as well, really destroying his chances of scoring possibly inside the top 10, as they're all so bunched up together indeed. Misha inherits the lead, and look at this, Hatakas, my fancy, trying to get the power on, and he's side by side, and it's about to take away, no it's not, the Haas sticks around the outside there, and stays ahead. This is great defence there from Aaron Gibbo. You thought for 1 second he might just give up, but no, he went around the outside again, and stayed ahead of Hatakas, just drove around the outside beautifully as well. Seems like he got confidence in the corners to stick it around the outside and keep ahead of his rivals. I think Hatakas tried to catch him unaware due to the lack of battery he had, so he tried to get him in an unconventional place, catch him off guard and hope to surprise an attack there, but unfortunately for him it hasn't worked out for him at all, as Jaden once again makes a mistake. Jaden suffering with bad luck around here at the Imola Grand Prix. The DRS is unable once again, but he's under pressure. Here comes the racing ball of Sasha. He goes up into P4 and ahead of Hatakas. Remember, Sasha got caught on the pit lane. He was behind somebody, wasn't he? I think he was behind Aaron Gibbo in the pit lane exit and got split up. And now he's right behind the Haas though, but where can he pick his moment to strike? He seems like a quick driver so far in this race. Sasha has won the Australian Grand Prix. No, he didn't. That's in SDN, sorry. And like I said, I need to get confused. I need to start getting confused between SDN and also JSR. Oh, Misha off the track as well. He goes off and he rejoins all the way down in P7 there. The gravel chaps unfortunately catching him out, and he's fallen down into P7. He has lost the lead of the race, and all his hard work has been undone, unfortunately. That strategy from hards to mediums was going to work for him, but unfortunately for him, he's dropped down into P7 and gets a 3-second penalty. So it's going wrong in the space of a couple of corners here for Misha in P7. But back towards the top of the field there, Mark, Gibbo and Sasha and Hatakas all in the wheel tracks of each other, all within range and striking distance of each other too. But the problem is though, Sasha is behind Aaron, who would love to dispose him so he can focus on catching Mark and getting past the Haas there. And here it comes with the battery down the inside into one turn. It's a late move from Sasha. Does he make it stick? He does, as he just gets ahead around the outside and he moves up into P2. What a spectacular lunge that was. And here comes the Williams there, wheel to wheel with the Haas, but the Haas swoops around the outside and remains in P3 for how much longer, because the guy's behind. Oh no! He's going off the track there. He goes off the track, make contact there with the the Williams, sorry, of Hatakas. And I'm not quite sure what happened there, because we had an awkward camera angle. Here comes Misha on the inside, up into P5 again. So, does he have damage? Yes, he does. So I wonder how he got past Milan Langer there. He got caught him unaware. Milan Langer does not have any sort of front damage to his car. So Milan will be happy to see that the McLaren driver leapfrog ahead of him. But yeah, Sasha getting his oversight. Every good driver, you get no oversight here in this race. Sasha's been on the podium once this season as well. That was back at the Chinese Grand Prix when he had a chance of winning, but unfortunately for him, he was too far back on that occasion to win. Who's that in the middle? That's the Sauber of Jaden, who's a ghosted car. Here we go once again. There is 5 laps left to go in this race, and this is between Sasha, Mark and Hatakas for the race win. The 3 Dutchies back together with Ryan in 4th place. The Norwegian Dutchman is running in 4th place. We haven't really spoken about Fireblaze at all in this race, but I think his race ended on lap 1 when something happened to him. So Fireblaze has been on the picture ever since lap 1 and hasn't recovered ever since as well. Had a terrible time also, the British GP did. Fireblaze finished in P9 as well. Well, the race here is almost done. There's only a few laps left to go between now to the checker flag, and this pretty much is in the hands of Mark, Sasha, and Khatikas. But it's all about strategy as well in this race. It's all about being calculated, being methodical, timing your overtakes at the right time, and not getting caught out either. Sasha is in the best seat in the house in P2 theoretically, but needs to watch out for Khatikas right behind as well. It looks like he's striking an attack right now. Use the battery to get closer, and he might make a move going in towards on the main straight. Here we go. Sasha goes up into first place, but was that the right choice though? That is the question indeed, because Mark could also get the DRS open on the back of him and be overtaking for first place. So has Sasha made the right choice? Should he have waited in the next couple of laps? Because some people like to attack, obviously, on the last lap of the Grand Prix or the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix to try and have the best chances as well. We've got the Sauber driver, once again, of Jaden, who's struggling there in P15. Unfortunate for him, but he's still going, still trying to circulate around. Milan Langer rides the back of Misha. How is his mini compound tyres doing? I wonder, is he starting to feel the effects of those mini compound tyres, or is he still in good naked shape? However, Ryan's under massive pressure from him behind. He's right behind him as the McLaren driver. So let's see what happens there between those two. Ryan seems to have lost some pace here in the Racing Bull, and Misha is crawling over the back of him like a virus, and we'll see if Misha can get past him or not. However, Sasha is trying to break free from Mark's DRS. Mark is struggling to stay with the DRS range, and if Sasha pulls away, that could be his big chance to win here for his first win of the season. Who's that? These two going side by side. Miles Mackey up into P7 ahead of Esteban, and here comes Ralph as well. He goes up into P8. Misha has overtaken Ryan. Here comes Milan Langer. He's about to take on Ryan too. Side by side they go, and Milan Langer is up into 5th place as well. So great recovery drive for Milan. His teammate pitted too. He's down at P14, so he's out of the equation now. But Milan Langer has recovered up into P5, has the Haas driver. His last podium as well was at the Chinese Grand Prix, when he was in that big kerfuffle and scuffle for first place between Kick, Sasha and himself. Milan, the most popular character here in JSR, commentator, racer, a champion of JSR, the man with the most wins here in JSR. So I think he's got about 32 or 33 or 31, not quite sure how many he's got, but he's got more than Red Joke, the 7-time champion of JSR. 5 layers as well. Robert used to be a former champion, so was Milan Langer too. Robert was on fire last season too, but I wonder what happened to him this season. Like, he has completely lost his form. I remember at one stage he was untouchable. Like, I used to be so frustrated seeing his lap times as a racer, not as a commentator, as a racer, supporting Claire, because I was a racer last season, so I was so frustrated not able to catch him as well. I believe he's on the pad now, he's on the controller, so that's why I was even more frustrated, knowing that there's some potential on the pad, but I just can't seem to get suited and adjusted to this game. Miles Makis is on the back of Ryan, going in towards turn 2. The Red Bull driver looks to try to score some points. He does a switchback, and he goes around the outside, and that is a neat tiny move there from Miles Makis, who puts himself up into P6 despite his first lap shenanigans. He's up into P6 now, and he does have a 3-second penalty. Robert Ryan in P7 there is struggling for some reason. The hardcore part tyres, maybe they're getting old, maybe he just doesn't like this track, who knows, but unfortunately for him, he is struggling around here. Khatikas got the most wins without a championship as well. He's got 9 wins to his name, has this young Dutch driver. He was very quick as well, but Mark has lost the DRS towards Sasha, so Sasha has broken free and could possibly on course to win this Grand Prix. Now he's under massive pressure from Khatikas right behind too. Nevertheless though, it's a great result for both Williams drivers up into P2 and P3 as well, so might see the swapperoo happen for the British team. Here goes the Williams with his DRS open. Let's see if Khatikas will get past his teammate. Here he is, gaining and gaining on his teammate, and he goes up into P2 ahead of Mark. Look at Misha defending against Milan Langer, switching to the inside outside, swapping lines there too, try and get a better exit, but Milan Langer has to stay behind for the time being. Then he's got Miles Makis right behind too for good measure. He doesn't dive to the inside there, in towards Tulsa, where we saw Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya have their moment in Tulsa. Remember when Juan Pablo Montoya got forced off by Michael Schumacher, who claimed he didn't see him? And Lewis Hamilton back in 2021 too, when he went off there as he went on the down patches lapping some cars. But Valtteri Bottas and George Russell had their spectacular crash in Turn 2 in 2021. What a race that was as well in 2021. I think it was Verstappen, Hamilton and Lando Norris. Remember as well, Verstappen broke the Italian curse in 2021 because he had such rotten luck in Italy all the time. In Imola, he had a puncture in 2020. Monza, he had an engine problem, and Mugello, he spun out and crashed as somebody hit the back of him. I think it was can't remember who it was, but there was a few cars involved in that tussle. I think it was Pierre Gasly at the time. Here comes Milan side by side with the McLaren driver headed down towards turn 2, and he goes off the track. He runs out road, and unfortunately for him, he has lost so many places there. Too aggressive. He spins on the curve too for good measure, and that chance for him is done and dusted. Mark is right behind Hattercast once again. But Sasha, what an incredible job searching for his first win of the season is the Dutchman, as he had a podium back at the Chinese Grand Prix, being defeated by Kick, and he's on course for a great result is the Racing Bull driver. The Racing Bull driver has really stepped up as well in JSR and shown so much tremendous pace, but he has been unlucky at times with the strategies or something going wrong in races. He's managed to step up here in JSR in Imola. He starts down in 11th place as well, so he has been absolutely rapid in this race, and he caught up to the back of the leaders. Here he comes around the final corner. This is Sasha making a statement, making his mark here in Imola. As he makes his way now towards the line, he goes. Sasha wins the Imola Grand Prix. Hattercast finishes in P2 with Mark in P3, and Miles Makis recovers up to P4, but he does have a penalty to his name. Stevan, Ralph, Ryan, Eric jump him, Milan Langer, Misha jump him as well. Fireblades up into P10, and here comes the rest of the field. Been a chaotic race as you usually see here at JSR, but we're about to go to the high-speed circuit of Monza now. Congratulations to Sasha on his victory. We've got some interesting facts here as well. The most Milan Langer does have the most wins. He has 31. And Verjoke has 27. Robert has 14. Hattercast has 9. Fireblades has 8. Kick has got 7, but expect to be more. Kevin's got 6. Ryan's got 6. Daniel's got 5. Finn's got 5. Steven's got 4. Eric has got 4. So a lot of people don't have more than 10 wins. Only 3 people in this league have more than 10 wins, which is Milan, Verjoke, and Robert. They're pretty much the goats here in JSR. Of course, Robert did win the championship in season 9. I think he did anyway. No, it's season 11, sorry. He won the championship in season 11 and season 8. So he's a 2-time champion here in JSR. Milan Langer is a 1-time champion, and Fireblaze is a 1-time champion, whilst the rest has gone to Verjoke. I love stats. I love history. I love reading information about leagues. Even though I wasn't here for such a long period of time when this league was created, I love seeing these kind of stats, and it's nice to see that the league has sustained a bit of history as well. Verjoke has won the championship 5 seasons in a row for Ferrari, 5 times with Ferrari before Fireblaze came along and beat him in season 6. Then Verjoke was the champion in season 7 and 9. Then Milan Langer became the champion in season 10. That's when I went back to commentating, I think, I think I went back to commentating that season, and we saw the brilliance of Milan Langer. I'm surprised with 31 wins, he's only got 1 championship. Of course, I've got a winner here as well. I think this is Stevan's first win. Not Stevan, Sasha's first win here in JSR potentially as well. So if it is, congratulations to Sasha for winning. Milan Langer also has the most pole positions. Whilst on the podium side, Verjoke has 61 podiums, Milan Langer has 60, and Robert has 41, with Hattercast got 33 podiums, Fireblaze 27, Stevan 23, Kick 22, Ryan 18, Ruben 11, Misha 11, Kevin's got 10, Sasha has got 10. So this is Sasha's 11th podium and first win. Daniel's got 9, with Eric who's got 9 as well. I've got 1. I think, or 2. Yeah, I've got 1. recently on the roster for podiums is that Oliver says P1 Dark sucks. Well, that's a shame. But yeah, it's a massive shame. We now move on to the Monza Grand Prix. The Temple of Speed, as it's known for in the past. First introduced in 1950, used to race around the old banking. But unfortunately, well I say unfortunately, it was removed due to danger issues. The track deemed as unsafe to race around the banking, and now we have this currently out here in Monza 2. So don't go anywhere just yet. We have still got Monza to get through, and it's a high-speed game of chess. The likes of Eric, Fireblaze, Miles Makis, those guys pretty much out of contention, and Stevan too. And I wonder if they may come back strong. We've got 18 people in the lobby now, so somebody else has joined this lobby. It's woman Nick. Well, Gabriel Bortoletto has been added for some reason, so if Gabriel Bortoletto is racing, then welcome Gabriel Bortoletto. Hopefully you have a good result. Yeah, he's been removed now, so Gabriel Bortoletto will not be racing with us, unfortunately. For those who are joining, taking a short break before we go to the Monza Grand Prix, and we'll see what happens here. Complete contrast, by the way, to the Imola Grand Prix, which requires a bit more downforce, but here, low downforce setups, high speed game of chess, and DRS trains all the way through. But I'll be back with you very shortly once the race continues. Alright, we are back for the Italian Grand Prix. This time move over to Monza now. And we'll see what happens going down in towards the Bricks of Turn 1. The light's about to go away very soon. Perfect time, by the way, for me to come back. Here we go. We get racing here at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, and the lights go as we see the two side by side, Sasha versus there's a massive crash between whoever that was in the background as we now head towards turn 1 as we see Sasha running outside. The Ferrari spun, the Sauber has hit somebody. Jaden came out of nowhere and smashed into some people for unknown reasons, like Antonio Liazzi did back in 2011 in the HRT when he smashed into Rosberg and Petrov. As we head down towards the second chicane, we go side by side between Ryan and Mark, but look at that, we can see the McLaren here breaks himself there and loses so many places, gets pitched on the curb too for good measure, and he's dropped into P8, being optimistic and audacious on the brakes there, and he has lost so many places there with that manoeuvre headed down. Look at this, here comes Misha now up the inside of Eric. Eric gets forced off the track there too as he falls down into P8 then, so what a miserable start there for Eric. Rubbers on the hard compound tyres in P7, the man that retired back in the Imola Grand Prix, as we see him now coming through Ascari we go. Oh, look at that, he bounced off the curb there too. That's Rubber, who takes a bit of an adventure going off the track there too, and up in the air for a moment as we see Eric now. Where is he? There he is, drawing alongside the Ferrari driver. Looking to take a place away on the medium compound tyres, and up the move in the inside, and he goes up into P7 there, so decent move there. Sasha has broken away from the DRS already, so he's on fire so far, going for 2 for 2, winning his second race here in JSR. Milan Langer in P6 there too, looking to put the pressure on Misha. Who's that up the inside? Hopefully don't take it Ferrari, as here comes Bassi, who breaks super late and gets past Mummy Nick then, so he's up at the inside and he gets up into P9, does Bassi ahead of Mummy Nick and Potato as well. Jaden is down in P17, who is pitted as he has retired from this race as well. P1 Dog down in P14, he is struggling once again, is the LP driver as we make our way towards the second chicane. We go, the Ferrari get that shift. Here comes Mercedes Eric now up the inside of Milan Langer. Nice move up the inside there. Eric is making some lost ground after losing a couple of places after being forced to track there by Misha. And guess what? He's behind Misha. Now Misha gets past Mark. He puts himself up into P4, does the McLaren driver. Hot gas pushing in the absolute limits there as well. Who's that in the background got the track? Is Mark. Mark's off the track, and here comes the Mercedes of Eric. Milan Langer goes through, and also Rubber goes through too. So Mark has lost so many places. So from the highs back in the Imola Grand Prix. Oh, Bassi, come on, man. Just be patient. You know he's got damage in front of you. Just don't go for any sort of silly risk to move. That's why your races end early. But here we go with the DRS wide open. Mark decides not to pit as he thinks it's a waste of time. Milan gets past Eric as we head down into towards turn 1. Bassi let the brakes again. Does he make the corner? He does make the corner and makes the move stick. He's up into P8 now. This is great braking skills there from Bassi, who's able to go super low on the brakes but still make the apex. And here comes Mark back on him as he goes off the track as well. So doing a Pierre Gasly, who went off the track completely there and went straight to the wall. I believe he did have a suspension failure or broken front wing that collapsed under the car. Mark though trying to do the switch back, but he doesn't have the grip, but he gets past Ralph, sorry, as he goes up into P11 ahead of the McLaren driver. Contact between Aaron and Ralph completely crashes in the wall. Who crashed there in the past? Was it Lewis Hamilton or Felipe Massa who crashed there years ago? I can't remember. I have a very glimpsed memory of somebody crashing there in the past in that wall. I think Lewis Hamilton back in 2010, who got a puncture, didn't he? Or broke his suspension because he made contact with both Ferraris in the second chicane and he broke his suspension, so he parked there. He didn't crash there. But a year before, in 2009, Lewis Hamilton crashed on the final lap in the first Lesmo. And Rubens Barrichello went on to take his final win for Braun in the Braun. Obviously, he went to take his final win in his F1 career. And he only won 2 races too that year too. Eric is ahead of Milan Langer, puts himself up to P5 ahead of the Dutchman. As we see in the background, Bassi and Nick once again in a battle for P8 there, going side by side as we see Nick pinch on the inside curve there as he has to give the place towards Bassi, who falls backwards into P9 once again. And here comes Nick in the slipstream and the battery too, side by side with Bassi. And does he get ahead? He does. He puts himself up into P8. So once again, Hazikas has caught up to Sasha, so great pace there to claw back some time against the Racing Bull driver. But Hazikas in P2 is in a Racing Bull sandwich with Ryan and Sasha there too, so not in a really comfortable place so far in this race. Eric has got some tremendous pace too. Where's Fireblaze? Fireblaze has pitted onto a hard copper tyre, so what a shame for the Dutchman down the P14, suffering some rotten luck here this week in Imola and Monza. Well, Mark gets a 3-second attempt. We can see the battle for the leading cars. These guys getting super close as well. Had to cast with some brilliant pace in that Williams to get that gap under a second. The Racing Bull driver has not broken free this time, unlike in Imola when he broke free from the DRS. Here comes Hatakas with the DRS wide open on the main straight. We go. Is he looking for an overtake? He is. He gets past him. The speed's about 350 kilometers an hour, which is about 222 miles an hour in those metrics. Hatakas takes the lead of the race, but massive real speed sustained in the exit too, as the battle will continue all the way through, as it's easy to stay in DRS range. Remember, the engine does overheat quite significantly too, so you've got to watch out in the turbulent air of somebody behind as well, because the engine does overheat quite a lot. As here comes Aaron Gibbo and Mummy Nick there, swapping places as Aaron goes up into P9. Next target is Bassi for P8. Eric is dropping in out of DRS2 for good measure in P5. He's pushing as hard as he can in that Mercedes, but unfortunately for him, seems to be losing when the DRS has been activated, and that's the problem, unfortunately, he caused in this race. When you're outside the DRS range, it is so difficult to get back there, especially a track like this, where it's all about shutdown speed and low downforce, and the DRS is so pivotal for your race too, to stay within the DRS range. But as you can see, he's lost 0.4 of a second there, and that's the consequences, unfortunately, of the DRS. That's the downfall for him, sadly for him. Milan Lange is on the back of him too, fighting for P5. Remember, Eric got shoved off the track by Misha, didn't he, in the second Lesmo? And he must be so frustrated knowing that he could have potentially joined the battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Here comes Sasha once again side by side with the Racing Bull of Williams, as now we see Sasha move up into first place. Aaron Gibbo and Bassi swapping places there. Here comes Mummy Nick as well, trying to get involved in the action, but not close enough on this occasion. Here's your man down at P15 for a quick glimpse of him to see what he's doing. That is P1 Dark, who was up there momentarily leading the Grand Prix in Imola, but he dropped backwards quite a lot. Jaden has left the session, unfortunately for him. But let's go back to Bassi and Aaron, because they're going side by side. Oh, they're squeezed off the track there, those two. And Mummy Nick is up into P7 there. 2 for the price of 1. And those two, they've tripped over themselves and allow Mummy Nick to go back up into P7 there. Don't you love it when something like that happens, when two drivers in front of you get tangled up in an incident and you just walk through it and get past them? But look at this, here comes the Haas up the inside, in towards the Ascari we go. And the Haas of, not Ascari, is it Ascari? Yeah, it is Ascari. I can't believe it, my history, it's not my history, it's just my brain today. It's going absolutely dreadful. It's like I've turned off my brain for some reason. Milan Lange did get past Eric as well, so it goes up into P5. Hatagas and Ryan, they're both pitted as well to try and do the undercut on lap 7 and 19. It's when the drivers decide to pit as well. Mummy Nick is now released into P7, has the DRS to potentially protect himself against the driver behind, which is Bassi. So the pit window is open on this lap. Undercuts are now in pursuit and effect as well, and we'll see how the strategy jumbles up the order. And we'll see where people feed out in comparison towards each other too. So Sasha will definitely pit at the end of this lap. Can't afford to stay out there for more than one lap. Otherwise, he'll just drop back too dramatically as well. He might fall in between Misha and Eric. I'm guessing that Sasha might fall in that proximity, that area, I presume. So he might slot in behind Misha and ahead of Eric. We'll see if he does. And if he does fall behind Misha and get ahead of Eric, Eric could be brought back in the DRS range of this battle then, making it a 5-way fight for first place, which is going to be super interesting between those Dutch drivers. Those Dutch drivers are super quick, relentless, talented as well, but also fearless. They're a bit brutal as well. They leave nothing on the table, elbows out all the way through as well, which could lead to the eventual downfall as well. That's the downside of them, those drivers, where they're just too aggressive for their own good and something just happens. But Sasha has pitted then at the end of lap 7, and we'll see where he decides to feed in. As we see now Mummy Nick in the pit lane, Bassi stays out once again. Let's go above Eric to see where Sasha feeds in. Maybe behind Misha, but ahead of Eric, or maybe behind Eric. But if he does fall behind Eric, he might fall outside the DRS range. Look how much battery he's using to try and inch himself forward. Let's see then. He comes to the pit lane right now, and my calculations are dramatically wrong. Never mind then, he's nowhere near that. We're going side by side in the breaker zone we go. Khatakas versus Sasha for the lead of the Grand Prix, as Sasha gets the overcut. But here comes Khatakas, wheel to wheel, use the battery against him, and he moves himself up into P2. Look at Ryan too, when he fancies a move up the inside as he's defending from Misha right behind too. Going down in towards the second chicane we go. The McLaren draws alongside, has the inside line from next corner. Ryan, though, still there on the outside, stays in P4. Great defence there from Ryan. He essentially had to attack and defend. He had to make his mind up at the right choice as well, because he didn't want to overtake Sasha. He was boxed in and had to focus on Misha behind. Eric now has caught us, so due to the expense of those guys battling, it has enabled Eric to get closer. Milan Langer, though, is still too far back to get a DRS range of Eric and co in front of him. Effectively, Sasha has done the overcut on those guys. No, he hasn't. Well, not with Khatakas. But it was super tight, the exit. Super fine margin between those two as well. So he had some great pace on them dying, aging medium compound tyres to get ahead of these guys, effectively, except one, which is Khatakas. But now he's about to get ahead of him. He goes up into P2. So we're going to see this all race long between Sasha, Ryan, Khatakas, Misha and Eric. The battle for the race lead of the Grand Prix. The top five all in 1080 of each other. Hot pursuit of each other too. But mainly it's in Sasha and Khatakas' hands to win this race between first and second place. Eric, though, is side by side with Misha. Going down in towards the second chicane we go. It's super tight, but Eric is running off the road. He's giving a bit of taste of his medicine as Misha stays in P4. For those people who were with us early on in the race, basically what happened on lap 1 is Eric got forced to track by Misha at this particular part of the track. For some reason, Eric broke down after the first Lesmo, and Misha got ahead of him, but he squeezed off the track, and Eric is returning the favour too. What goes around comes around, as they say, and Eric definitely gave him a taste of his own medicine, effectively, in his own words. But hopefully that's it. Misha did get a taste of his own medicine, so it's even Stevens now. I've done a level playfield. I know Eric did get past Misha, but at the same time, though, he did give the favour back, so hopefully no more drama between those two. But of course, it's JSR, expect drama. Look at Misha, though. Look at Khatakas, sorry. Khatakas has broke out of the DRS range of Sasha, so he's struggling there to stay within that DRS range of Khatakas, while Eric is hunted down Misha for 4th place. Towards the breakers, here we go. Eric has had a couple of wins here in JSR. Rotten luck back at the Imola Grand Prix, but he's returned stronger here in Monza. Potentially fighting for a podium, maybe a win is out of the equation for him. He won back in Qatar. He won back in Azerbaijan as well. Not Azerbaijan, sorry. He won back in Qatar. There is still 9 laps to go in this race. Robert Jacobs has got a 3-second attempt in this race too. Very easy as well to pick up track limits around here. As you can be very mindful and wary of those track limits. But Sasha, however, pulling the trigger and he's disappeared. The gap is 1.2 seconds per Khatakas. We saw in the first half of the race how he managed to bring that gap down. And will he do it again to bring himself back in contention to try and fight for the lead of the Grand Prix? But Sasha's pace has been absolutely flawless so far in this race. But Eric once again rides the gearbox of Misha with the DRS open. This time he's getting closer, closer, closer. He's revving out on the straight here. He's revved out. Unfortunately for him, he can't get anywhere nearer towards Misha. So Misha stays in P4 as he bows over the curve there. Eric as well getting super close to the exit too for good measure. Use the battery. Trying to put Misha under all sorts of pressure, making him very uncomfortable so far in P4. Eric's presence right behind is not helping Misha at all. As he gets that all out of shape in the first chicane as well, just clasped the curve too hard. He got that second chicane is just so clumsy. It's what's going on there? Robert Jacobs has made another mistake in this race, but that second chicane, you got to be so precise, so accurate as well. Because if you take too much or too little curb, you could find yourself in the gravel or spinning out too for good measure as well. So you got to be very, very careful. The battle for P2 though is still pretty much on between Ryan and Hatagas there. As we exit Parabolica, Ryan's got a lot of battery saved in his disposal to use down the main straight with the DRS open, but he's 7/10 back, so I doubt he'll make a move, although Hatagas is derated, but Ryan there as well harvested some energy for the latter part of the Grand Prix. As once again Eric is too far back on that occasion. Milan Lange is in P6, all alone in P6 there. Just can't see to get closer towards Eric and Misha. Maybe you should have pitted on the same level of Eric as well. In the background, we can see Bassi and Nick once again in battle between these two Dutches. As we see Mummy Nick there getting out of shape and off the dust, off the racing line. His tyres will be dirty with debris. But Mummy Nick now up into P10 ahead of the Aston Martin. But the Aston Martin's still on his tail and going down in towards this section again. Not backing off though. It's a risky move down the inside there, but it wouldn't pay off for him at all as he stays at P11. Fireblaze is right behind too, but Fireblaze is on the old hardcore pad tyres there. This should be Sasha's race to win now because Hatagas, as you can see in P2, does not have the pace to contend with Sasha in first place. So Sasha, oh my goodness, Jens, oh what a shame. He's got a 3-second attempt, so pushed his luck too many times in this race. Yeah, he's poked the bear too many times in this race as Hatagas, and unfortunately has picked up track limit violations there. So theoretically, Ryan doesn't have to overtake Hatagas. If he's smart about this, he might sit behind him with the DRS open and keep Misha and Eric at bay to ensure his chance of a podium. He doesn't really have to go aggressive against Hatagas, knowing that he's got a 3-second penalty. This could be a raceable one too. Ryan and Sasha have been looking very strong so far. Ryan in the last couple of races has been looking very handy in the last couple of races to score some big points too. Although back in China it didn't go well for him at all due to lagging out, and also at the British GP when he fell backwards too. But so far so good for the Racing Bull drivers here at the Monza Grand Prix. Of course, Pierre Gasly won back in 2020 around here in Monza, with a spectacular win. I remember that day is clear as well. I was sat at home, it was COVID, it was locked down, and the Italian Grand Prix was happening. And what a race that was too. Both Ferraris suffered with bad luck. Did Ferrari have a double DNF? Yeah, because Leclerc crashed in Parabolica, didn't he? And Sebastian Vettel had a BBW, a brake by wires failure or something like that. And that's why both Ferraris were forced to retire. As Kevin Magnussen broke down, the pit lane entry was closed. Carlos Sainz pitted with the guys behind too. Lewis Hamilton pitted at the wrong time. Got himself a 10-second penalty. Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi put on the soft compound tyres. Lawrence Stroll went off the track on the safety car restart, or the red flag restart. Then it was Sainz versus Pierre Gasly for the win, wasn't it? And Gasly went on to win. After being dropped by Red Bull the year before, Gasly in the AlphaTauri was tremendously quick as well. And poor Gasly, he's been in a horrible car, Alpine, Renault, what shall I say? Alpine haven't had the best engine at all. Will Alpine this year be stronger? It'll be a bit stronger, but not too strong, I dare say. It'll be more competitive, obviously, than last year. But Aston Martin Honda looks like the worst car overall. And whoever's running the Honda engine must feel sorry for them as well. Honda were very strong years ago, but unfortunately, they've gone back downhill. Back towards the 2016-2017 days when the McLaren Honda kept breaking down all the time, literally no joke as well. It was so ludicrous how many times they broke down, and Alonso and Van Dorn receiving 50 place group penalties. Do you remember that, guys? This is a back to the past blast. There used to be such a thing like a 50 place group penalty or a 70 place group penalty. That used to be a thing back in 2016. We used to make memes about it all the time. But Ryan on the back, once again, had to gather his 4 laps to go in his Grand Prix. Sasha has got a comfortable buffer over the guys behind. All he needs to do is bring it home with no sort of mistake. and he should be on course to win this Grand Prix for his second win in a row here in Imola and Monza. So seems to be doing good around the region of Italy. Well, of course, Sebastian Vettel as well won back in 2008 for his first ever win, and also Toro Rosso's first ever win too, after being Minardi a couple of years before. Sebastian Vettel, the youngest F1 driver to win at that time, with Robert Kubica, Heikki Kovalainen in P2, and Robert Kubica, who finished in 3rd place after starting, I think, in 10th place. So it was an underrated drive for Kubica. Hamilton, Massa, Raikkonen all struggled as well in that race. Hamilton had no sort of pace at all against anybody. His teammate beat him, Kovalainen, who finished in P2, one of his second podium out of 3. Oh, Robert Jacobs has caused a safety car. A safety car has been deployed. He's crashed. He has crashed at the exit of Rasma, not Rasma. I'm trying to think. Lesmo. Yeah, Lesmo too. Second Lesmo. There we go. He has crashed out the second Lesmo and has brought something else on the track. He's brought a safety car. And we know what happens when a safety car comes out in the last couple of laps of the Grand Prix. Things kick off. The two-time champion, unfortunately for him, has crashed, whilst Khatikas and Misha have stayed out for track position, whilst other people have dived in the pit lane to put on a set of the stock car power tyre. Remember, these guys haven't done any qualifying at all, so they've got a brand new set of stock car power tyres in their disposal to use. Ryan has got to do a double stack as well. Both racing bulls are running different liveries too for good measure. Do you know what? This is like MotoGP when the two riders run different liveries, because sometimes in MotoGP the teammates don't run the same livery, they have their own livery, custom livery, like it is in other sports as well. But F1, of course, the two drivers in the same team have the same livery. So Sasha, he's got some work to do to still win. No, in fact, Sasha's got no work to do. The people ahead of him have got a 3-second penalty, so Sasha doesn't need to risk it and make any sort of risky, crazy moves. His closest competitor is down in P5, Eric. So what Eric has got to do now is overtake Bassi and try and fight Sasha for the win. He's got to dispatch Bassi as quickly as he can. Same with Sasha as well in P3. Sasha's got to dispatch Misha and Khatikas to make sure he wins this Grand Prix and doesn't spend too much time behind him. Sometimes obstacles in the way can cause a huge headache and a roadblock, and the guys behind may capitalise whilst you're struggling to overtake the guys in front of you in the older hardcore power tyres. So let's see how this race transforms once the safety car is in at the end of this lap. Not this lap, but the next lap, because we still need about 2 laps of racing action to merit a safety car. What's going on here then, boys? Stay tuned for the end of this race. Robbie Jacobs has joined the session known as one more race to go in Monaco, but we might have a climatic end towards this race. Sasha's job, overtake Misha and Khatikas quickly, so to ensure that Eric doesn't catch behind very quickly to try and get towards the end of the race. Eric's job, overtake Bassi and try and stick with Sasha to see if he can try and fight him whilst he's fighting with Misha and Khatikas. So what's going to happen towards the end of this race? There's 2 more laps left to go in this race. The only person in this pack that's not caught up is Ralph. There he is in the background, approaching the end of Ascari. Here we go then. 14 cars in action, and we'll see what happens. But the Aston Martin, Bassi's broke his wing as well for good measure, so that could be an impact for his race. But Hatagas can decide when to get going. He becomes the effective safety car. Will we get racing once again here in Monza? Here we go then for the safety car restart. What's going to happen? Down in towards Tier 1. Somebody's broke their wing. It looks like a Haas has broke his wing there. As now we go down towards Tier 1 we go. Sasha, side by side with the McLaren. Here comes Bassi of the inside too. Squeezes his way through. Milan Langer up the inside of Eric in towards Tier 2. Here comes the racing ball as well. Of Ryan, we go 3 abreast there. Sasha's taking the lead of the Grand Prix. Whilst the guys behind all scrubbing away for these precious points and podiums. Here we go then with a multi-car scrap in towards the second chicane we go. There's cars absolutely everywhere. What's going to happen there? Contact between the Aston Martin goes off the track too. But 3 abreast in the background we go. And that is Misha. Oh, more contact. Ryan or Eric has spun out to end his race. His whole race here in Monza has completely gone awry and catastrophically gone wrong as well in this race. It has gone absolutely chaotic in this safety car restart. And now Misha and Ryan in battle. Milan Langer is right behind too for good measure. Ryan goes up into P4 back ahead of Milan and Misha. He lost a few places in the pit lane too. Had to do a double stack in the race. And now Milan Langer is on the back of the race of the McLaren driver. He was the one that broke his wing. We saw a bit of carbon fibre on the track when the safety car came in on the main straight. So he was the Haas man who broke his wing. And now Misha has right to put in the old hardcore power tyres. And look at Ryan too, going through on the inside. And it's going to be a Red Bull, Racing Bull 1-2 between Sasha and Ryan. The Dutch Norwegian and the Dutchman doing a mega job. But look at this in the background, a big fight going on here. And we're going almost 3 abreast again as the Haas up the inside of the Sauber, whilst the Ferrari and McLaren go side by side at turn 2. Stefan on them soft power tyres get a better grip and better launch purchase off the exit of turn 2. A great release, and here comes one with Nick now. Fancies a bit of Milan Langer. Sorry, Aaron, who's going side by side there. What's happened to Aaron? He's fallen backwards there. Milan Langer goes through. No, Aaron goes through. McLaren goes off the track, but Milan Langer is inside of Aaron. So they ghost inside each other, but of course Milan has no downforce, so that's why Aaron's able to have better speed to the corners. They're still ghosted, fighting for ghosted positions, but now they're solid once again. DRS is enabled, and here comes Aaron now, side by side with Misha. He should get past, and Fireblaze is up into P8 now ahead of Milan Langer. Fireblaze has been nowhere to be seen. Who's that? Who is that? That's Eric. Oh, what's going on there? What is going on? Oh my goodness me, what are these guys doing? This is a typical JSR style race here. I keep forgetting where I am sometimes. The last lap of the Grand Prix. Oh no, Sasha has won! Sasha has won the Italian Grand Prix. I thought it was the last lap, my apologies. But Ryan finishes in P2. Stevan on the podium. Stevan is on the podium for his second podium this season. He pitted up at the Austrian Grand Prix, and now he has scored another one. Great drive from Stevan, and his mentor, his coach, his best friend of Ben Joke is the one that's coaching him, and he'll be very happy and pleased to see his man on the podium. It's a Racing Bull 1-2. Congratulations to Ryan and Stevan. Mega job from both of them too. Kept it clean, consistent, and out of trouble as all the chaos unfolded towards the back end of the field too. Bassi, great job for him, P6, and a great job from Aaron as well in P5. Milan Langer once again behind his teammate in P7, Fireblaze in P8. But what a dramatic race as well. Never ceases to fail to disappoint me in these races. It always has something to deliver, whether it could be chaos, drama, controversy, anything. It's not a JSR race without any controversy or chaos. One more race to go, which is at the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a completely different spectacle. But the thing is, though, we will see no crashes regardless of who's in the race because it's ghosted. It's a time trial race. So we won't see any sort of crashes going into that one. And that'll be the last race for this evening before we round off this triple header. Leon, nice to see you in the chat, mate. Where have you been in Division 1? Oh, what a shame, Leon. I know it feels like to be a lot to be at work, but yeah. Hopefully we'll see you back very soon, Leon. One more race left to go for this format, which is not all about racing anymore. It's all about racing against the clock. That is the timer ticking down. So we'll see then which driver has the edge. But Racing Bull looking very strong so far this season, and we'll see if that transpires. Do you know what? Ryan always intrigues me. Like, he's so quick. At the same time, though, can make some sort of silly mistakes, and that's what costs him all the time. I only just realised as well, Yana Otmir in the chat is Ryan. Not Ryan, sorry, is Aaron. So I finally figured out who that is, and that is Aaron, the Scotsman. Kick is watching while skiing as well, so Kick, if you're still in the chat, I really hope you're having a good time in the chat. So we're down to 15 people because a couple of people have left this session. So it's a time all about, it's a race against the clock basically for this format in Monaco. So two 35% races, and now we move on to something different here. And we'll see how this works. Of course, remember, drivers outside the top 10 in the standings before tonight will be also battling for the white car classification too for those points. So everybody's got something to play for in this championship. 5 laps of absolute precision with ghosting on, and we'll see who will take it towards the end of the race. Okay, so we're about to go into the session in Monaco, another track that's been introduced since 1950 and before as well, before the official Formula 1 World Championship. It's been around since, what, 1920s? Maybe even less than that. It's been around for such a long time. Still on the Formula 1 grid, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding the Monaco Grand Prix, whether it should be removed or not, but it's one of them classic circuits. Money talks, obviously. I don't think Monaco will ever be removed from the F1 calendar for otherwise, but yeah, that's the way it is, unfortunately. The only interesting thing about Monaco is qualifying, when the drivers absolutely push the limits, getting super close against the walls on the outside. But in the race, we all know it's super boring. No matter what format they decide to do with a mandatory 2-stop or whatever, it just doesn't work unless they have smaller cars. But yeah, it's just so difficult to overtake around here. There's one thing I like to do. Every time we go to the Monaco Grand Prix, there's something I love always to mention. And that is something happened in 2014. Jules Bianchi. Jules Bianchi scored points here in Monaco in 2014 in the Marussia, as it was called back then, and he drove a spectacular race. And Marussia's 84th attempt to score points in Formula 1 finally happened after Bianchi succeeded, finished inside the top 10 and scored 2 points. He wasn't 8th place at the time, but he had a 5-second time penalty, unfortunately. I think it was with Kamui Kobayashi. So he made a robust move down the inside in to back, and Bianchi muscled his way past Kobayashi to put himself up to inside the top 10. Magnussen and Raikkonen came to blows and met at the hairpin. But here we go then for the race here in Monaco. It's not about battling, it's all about time trial, as the lights are... Wait, how am I supposed to commentate this? But here we go then. It's a time trial race here in Monaco, so whoever can make it to the line first obviously wins the Grand Prix. Yeah, so already this race, that Eric has retired from this race. No safety cars, of course, so he is out of the Grand Prix. Remember, even though there is no contact with each other, you can still break your front wings though, so you could be very mindful not to break your front wing. I thought for 1 second that contact was on because it looked like somebody got pushed from behind, so I thought for 1 second that somebody broke their front wing. This is basically qualifying, but with a few distractions too. 5-lap time trial to see who will end up first place here in Monaco. So Mark and Eric have retired already in this race. Eric has had a terrible time in Monza and also Imola. And who's that spun around? Somebody has spun. Bassi has spun, unfortunately, in the nose hairpin, not the nose hairpin, another chicane. Many people have broken their wheels as well, the suspension, the left front tyre in that chicane as well. It's just so easy. I think Isaac Hadjar became a cropper with that too, with his broken suspension. I remember Nico Rosberg's massive crash in 2011 when he lost the rear of the car, spun around and hit the wall in another chicane. Sergio Perez did the same thing too back in 2011, the same year as well, when he also hit the wall on the outside too. This place has got so much history and yeah, it's pretty much notorious as well. Very difficult circuit. We've had a lot of history around here in Monaco, but nowadays it is known as a simple, boring race. Not much happens unless wet weather impacts the circuit. The last time we had wet weather in Monaco was back in 2023, I believe it was. Aston Martin did the wrong call, I think, back in 2023, but I think they still finished in P. Oh, Gibbo's retired. He has hit the wall on the inside. He's out of the Grand Prix. He's out of the race. And he's another victim that's got caught out by the Nova chicane. He went in too quick, hit the wall. You can hear the smashes one in the background. And Ralph, look at him go. He's up into P2. And he's about to overtake Hatikas, but not to be, because I think he just hit the wall on the inside there too for good measure. You can go through your rivals, but you can't cut corners. Heading through the tunnel right now where Michael Schumacher, I think, crashed. What year was it? Oh, I can't remember now. Was it? Oh, Roberts retired as well. He's out of the race. He's crashed in the same place as well. Same place as Aaron Gibbo. So Robert retired back at the Imola. He retired in all 3 of them, actually. He's retired in all 3 races. So no points, no glory there for Robbie Jacobs, the champion, the 2-time champion of JSR, has retired as Hatikas is the leader of this race. Surprisingly as well, Hatikas got good pace. He's on a pad, isn't he? He is. The man's on a pad and he's still showing some great pace around here in Monaco. Do you know how difficult it is for people like me who are no longer talented at this F1 game? People like me who are completely washed at this F1 game, and just, yeah, it's a shame because I used to be very quick in esports teams, but not anymore. I've completely lost my faith to race on these F1 games because unfortunately the handling doesn't match my style no more. It's just yeah, it's just a shame, really. But that's what happened now. But accept it, move on. Now I'm a commentator. I don't league race anymore. I don't league race at all. I used to league race every single day. Back in 2020, I used to league race 3 times in one day on Sunday. Yes, we used to be sweats at the F1 game. Misha goes up into second place though. He's catching. Oh, he's gone now. Never mind. He crashed where Nico Rosberg crashed back in 2008 when he had a massive impact to the wall, bounced off the walls for good measure. I think it's the same place where we saw that crash in 2011 with, was it a Force India and Vitaly Petrov and a Toro Rosso? But Lewis Hamilton was behind, the leaders were behind that crash as well when there was a massive crash going to the wall with Petrov. I think, was it Sutil and Duresta? I can't remember who it was. Also the Caterhams as well. Maldonado went to the wall. Jules Bianchi, Maldonado and Max Chilton were involved in a crash there too, back in 2013. I remember years ago as well where the car was flipped upside down and it was covered in smoke as well. That was a long time ago. I can't remember who it was, but I have a memory as well of something happening back then. I've also got a memory of a van smashing with a Ferrari as well back in 2010. But Khatakas, he leads this race, a time trial race. He's driven spectacularly with Ralph in P3, and this 5-lap race is almost done. These drivers, the final time in this race, made their way towards the final corner, and Khatakas is the winner of the sprint race, or shall I say the time trial race, with Sasha P2 and Ralph on the podium again, or shall I say P3 with Stefano P4. That is the end of the sprint race, or the time trial race. 10 drivers left in the end. We started with 17, and 10 survived towards the end, including me. I've survived. But yes, that is the end of the race, and that is the Giro d'Italia over. It was great ovulation there from Milan Langer, and also Ben Joke for creating these ideas and putting them into good use. It's always nice to have some creative ideas rather than the plain simple races what we do every single week in every single league race. Nothing wrong with them, of course, but it's nice to do something different, something just a change for once. And guess what? I have lost my internet at the right time. Oh, never mind then. But that is the end of the Giro d'Italia for the triple race here in Monza, Imola and Monaco. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all for the next race. In fact, it's a break week next week, so Tuesday we won't be here, but we're back for the Singapore Grand Prix. So join us back for the Marina Bay Circuit on the 9th and the 15th of March. Sorry, from the 9th to the 15th of March. But as well, we get to talk about Formula 1 because Formula 1 returns next weekend in Australia. We'll see you all later. Goodbye for now. Take care and peace.